Going through a separation is, without a doubt, one of the most stressful things you can face. And right at the center of it all is often the biggest question. What about the house? Well, in this explainer, we're going to tackle a really critical piece of that puzzle, the home appraisal. We'll turn what feels like a huge daunting task into a simple checklist, so you can walk in feeling prepared and confident you're going to get a fair outcome. When you're trying to separate a shared life, the house is a huge question mark, isn't it? How can you possibly land on a fair, true value when everything feels so up in the air? That's exactly why a formal appraisal is so important. And getting ready for it, that's your first real step toward getting a clear, fair resolution. So what we're going to do here is give you a complete step-by-step guide to gathering every single document you're going to need. Trust me, having everything organized and ready before the appraiser shows up makes the whole process smoother, way more accurate, and it really does help make sure the final result is just. We're going to break this down into 5 key parts. We'll start with the basics, proving ownership and getting the finances straight. Then we'll get into documenting your home's true value, cover the specific legal details for your situation, and finally get you prepped for the day the appraiser actually visits. It's a clear roadmap from A to Z. Okay, first things first, the foundational paperwork. I want you to think of these documents as your home's official birth certificate and its financial resume, all rolled into one. This is the stuff that proves who owns the property and lays out all its core financial obligations. Let's kick off with 3 absolute must-haves. First, the property deed or title. That's the legal document that says, this property is ours. Next, you'll need your latest mortgage statements, and be sure to grab them for all loans, whether it's a second mortgage or a home equity line. That shows all the debt tied to the house. And finally, your most recent property tax bill. This tells the appraiser the official value the city or county is using for taxes. And to round out these core documents, grab your homeowner's insurance declaration page. It can give the appraiser some good background info. And hey, if you live in a place with a homeowners association or a condo board, those documents are totally non-negotiable. They spell out all the fees, the rules, and any special assessments, which all directly affect the property's value. All right, next up, let's talk about telling your home's story. See, an appraisal isn't just about the house as it stands today. It's about what it's become over the years. Every single renovation, every major improvement, it all adds to its value, and this is where you show your work. Now, this is where you can really make an impact. Just making a detailed list of all the major improvements you've made, along with dates and costs, is so powerful. Did you replace the roof 5 years back? Remodel the kitchen last summer? Put in a new HVAC system? Go find those receipts, invoices, and any building permits. This isn't just about paperwork. It's the hard evidence of the money and effort you've poured into the home. Oh, and if you happen to have them, any appraisal reports from the past or even the original blueprints can be super helpful. They just give the appraiser a richer history and a deeper understanding of the property. Okay, I need you to lean in for this next section because it is absolutely critical. This appraisal isn't just happening for fun. It's a very specific tool being used in your legal case. So the documents we're about to talk about are the ones that connect the appraisal directly to the requirements of your divorce. You have to pay really close attention to this. Your divorce or separation order will often specify the exact date that the home needs to be valued for. And guess what? It might not be today's date. Your legal orders are basically the instruction manual for the appraiser, telling them what timeline they need to be working from. So you're usually looking at one of 2 scenarios. The court might order a retrospective valuation. That's a fancy way of saying the appraiser needs to figure out what the house was worth on a date in the past, like your date of separation. Or they might just want the current market value. Knowing which one applies to you is key, because it determines if you need to go digging for old documents or just gather current ones. Beyond where the court orders, if you and your spouse have any kind of written agreement about the appraisal itself, make sure to have that handy. And yeah, if you are doing one of those retrospective appraisals, you're going to have to do a little digging for older paperwork, like old tax bills from that specific time period. Phew, okay, we've covered a ton of paperwork. Now let's switch gears and talk about the day of the actual visit. Your prep work here isn't about documents. It's all about setting the stage to make the appraiser's job as easy and efficient as possible. On inspection day, there are 2 simple but vital things to do. First, make sure the appraiser can get into every single space. A locked room, a cluttered garage they can't access, an attic they can't get into, that forces them to make assumptions, which might not work in your favor. Second, put together a simple 1-page fact sheet. It saves them time and makes sure they're working with the right info from the get-go. And here's what that fact sheet can look like. See? Keep it simple. Just the key stats: when it was built, the square footage, bed and bath count, and then a little section for special features. Things that make your home stand out, like being on a corner lot or having a pool or solar panels. It's a small touch that makes a big professional impression. All right, we're almost there. Let's cover just a few optional items. These aren't always required, but if you have them, providing them can help the appraiser create a more thorough and accurate report. And that can save you from potential disputes down the road. So if you have a property survey, that's great for clarifying boundary lines. And, it might sound a little weird, but being upfront with a written list of any known issues or repairs that are needed is actually a good thing. It shows transparency and helps ensure the valuation is realistic. The same goes for any easements or zoning issues that might impact how the property can be used. So you might be asking, what on earth is an easement? Well, to put it simply, it's a legal right for someone else, like a utility company, to use a part of your property for a very specific reason, like running power lines. It can affect the property's value, so it's really important for the appraiser to know about. And you know what? This right here might be the single most important piece of advice in this entire explainer. While this checklist is an amazing starting point, rules and requirements can be different depending on where you live. Your lawyer and your appraiser are your best friends in this process. Always, always ask them if there's anything else you need. Communication is everything. So after all of that, what's the bottom line? It's pretty simple, actually. Preparation is power. By taking the time to gather all these documents, you're not being a bystander. You're taking an active role to make sure the outcome is based on solid facts, not just guesswork. You're basically transforming a process that can feel totally chaotic and overwhelming into a series of clear, manageable steps. This isn't just about finding papers in a filing cabinet. It's about taking control of a really important piece of your future. So now you've got the checklist, you've got the roadmap. The only question left is, are you ready to put it all together and present your home's complete and accurate financial story? You can do this. You've got this.